The Young and the Restless spoilers shock Wednesday full episodes March 12. In the dim light of the underground chamber, Sharon's eyes met the stark reality of a future shrouded in darkness. The secret room, with its cold, unforgiving walls and echoing silence, had long been her prison. Yet now, with a heart filled with both despair and a burning desire for freedom, she resolved that the time had come to leave behind the claustrophobic gloom and face the inevitable, even if that meant stepping into the jaws of death. Sharon's determination was spurred on by the unyielding spirit of Phyllis, whose fervor for life burned as fiercely as a beacon in the night. Phyllis, known for her razor-sharp intellect and audacious nature, had never been one to cower before challenges. As the minutes ticked by in that forsaken hideaway, she tirelessly searched for any possible route to escape. Every creak of the ancient floorboards and every whisper of hope in the stale air pushed her to take bolder risks. In a moment of quiet resolve, Sharon vowed that from that day forward, she would stand beside Phyllis no matter what trials lay ahead. "I will support you, and I'll be by your side every step of the way," Sharon declared softly, her voice trembling yet resolute as it mingled with the shadows. Outside the grim confines of their temporary cell, the tangled web of deceit spun by Alan was unraveling at an alarming pace. Jack, whose penetrating gaze had always sensed the hidden truths in people's eyes, was gathering damning evidence that exposed the sinister depths beneath Alan's polished veneer. With each new piece of proof, Jack became more convinced that Alan had never harbored any true intention of marrying Tracy. He saw through the facade, the charming smile and the comforting words were nothing but a thin mask hiding treachery. Jack's loyalty to Tracy had always been steadfast, and though he would support her unconditionally, his heart burned with a fierce indignation against men who exploited trust and love for selfish gain. He swore that he would stop at nothing to expose the charlatan, determined that no one would be allowed to harm those he cared about. Tracy, caught in the web of her own romantic idealism, had always clung to the belief in love as an unwavering force that could conquer any darkness. Her unwavering faith, however, had blinded her to the subtle signals of betrayal that danced in Alan's eyes. To her, love was a sacred truth, an emotion so pure that it justified every risk. It was this unguarded trust, this refusal to acknowledge the possibility of deceit, that had led her down a perilous path. In her heart, she was certain that love was always right, but this certainty was quickly revealing itself to be her gravest mistake. As the sinister machinations of Alan and his cohorts threatened to overwhelm the fragile bonds of trust and loyalty, another crisis loomed. Nick and Billy, driven by desperation and the grim understanding that time was slipping away, embarked on a frantic search for Phyllis. Every second that passed in the stale corridors of captivity increased the risk of their doom. The duo, once confident and unflappable, now wore the weight of imminent danger on their faces. They knew that if the delay persisted any longer, the chances of survival would dwindle to nothing. Their voices, once full of determination and hope, now echoed with a sense of urgency and fear, a silent countdown to a fate they refused to accept. Amidst the intertwining stories of love, betrayal, and a desperate bid for freedom, each character found themselves locked in a personal battle with destiny. Sharon, with her newfound resolve, prepared to break free from the suffocating confines of the secret room. Her decision to leave was not born of despair alone, but was fueled by an inner strength that had been forged in the crucible of endless suffering. As she stepped cautiously toward the hidden exit, the promise of an uncertain future propelled her forward, each step a testament to the indomitable spirit that refused to be silenced by the weight of impending doom. Phyllis, equally determined and emboldened by her own resilience, fought back against the forces of captivity. Her brilliant mind raced through possible escape routes, each plan more daring than the last. She was the epitome of courage, a woman who did not flinch in the face of the unimaginable. Every obstacle in her path was met with a steely resolve, her eyes alight with the fierce desire to reclaim her freedom. And in the midst of her struggle, the bond between her and Sharon deepened, a silent pact of loyalty that transcended the terror of their surroundings. Meanwhile, far removed from the claustrophobic tension of the secret room, Jack's investigation into Alan's deceit gained momentum. With meticulous care, he gathered every scrap of evidence that could expose the truth hidden in Alan's eyes, a truth that pointed to a man who had never truly intended to honor the commitments he had made to Tracy. Jack's relentless pursuit was driven by his belief that justice must prevail, and that no matter how deeply one was ensnared in the web of false love, the truth would eventually shine through. His promise to Tracy was as unwavering as it was heartfelt. Those who dared to inflict pain on the innocent would be held accountable, and he would not rest until every last lie was laid bare for all to see. Caught between these converging forces was Tracy, whose heart now teetered on the edge of revelation. Her love for Alan, once a guiding light, had become a source of torment, a cruel reminder of how even the most fervent affection could be exploited. The realization that she had been a pawn in Alan's twisted game was a bitter pill to swallow. Her internal conflict was a maelstrom of emotions, love tangled with betrayal, hope marred by disillusionment, and the heavy burden of regret for having trusted too implicitly. In that moment of solitude, Tracy's mind churned with the painful recognition that love, when blinded by naivety, could lead one into the very jaws of destruction. Back in the hidden corridors of their confinement, Nick and Billy pushed forward with grim determination. Every shadow, every echo of their footsteps, was a reminder that the stakes were unimaginably high. They moved stealthily, aware that the enemy was lurking in every darkened corner, their survival hinging on the success of their mission to rescue Phyllis. Their hearts beat in unison with a singular, desperate purpose: to reunite with Phyllis before the cruel hand of fate sealed their doom. The disparate threads of these intertwined lives began to coalesce into a tapestry of dramatic confrontation and heart-wrenching choices. The secret room, once a symbol of despair and entrapment, was now a battleground where courage was pitted against the forces of deceit. Sharon's determination to escape was not merely an act of self-preservation, it was a rallying cry for all who had been oppressed by the sinister machinations of a man who wore the mask of honor even as he plotted betrayal. Phyllis's resilience, the steadfast loyalty of Sharon, the unyielding pursuit of truth by Jack, and the desperate urgency of Nick and Billy were all converging toward a singular, pivotal moment. A moment when the layers of deception would be peeled away, revealing the harsh, unvarnished truth that had long been concealed. Each heartbeat, each breath taken in that claustrophobic space, was a testament to the human spirit's unbreakable will to survive against all odds. In this cauldron of emotions and clandestine plots, the journey toward freedom and justice was fraught with peril. The fate of every individual, bound by love, loyalty, and the unyielding desire for truth, hung precariously in the balance. They were all caught in a storm of betrayal and hope, where every decision carried the weight of life and death. And as the walls of the secret room trembled under the strain of their combined resolve, the promise of a new beginning beckoned from the darkness beyond. For Sharon, Phyllis, Tracy, Jack, Nick, and Billy, the battle was far from over. It was a fight to reclaim not just their freedom, but their very identities, shattered by the deceit of those who had once held their trust. And as they braced themselves for the inevitable confrontation with a world steeped in lies and treachery, each of them carried a singular, unwavering belief that even in the face of certain death, the light of truth and the strength of human resilience could defy the darkest of fates. In the end, the secret room was more than just a physical prison, it was a crucible in which the bonds of loyalty were tested, the nature of love was scrutinized, and the true measure of courage was revealed. And as they stepped toward an uncertain future, every shattered dream and every whispered promise served as a reminder that no matter how bleak the path, the relentless pursuit of justice and the courage to embrace the truth would ultimately guide them home. The dynamic between Claire and Holden is certainly intriguing, and admittedly a bit unsettling. Their meeting has raised some concerns that hint at a possible dark undertone in their relationship. It seems that while Claire is exploring new possibilities, she's very clear about her standards. She believes that any man who wishes to win her heart must truly value and love her, not just serve as a temporary fix. In her eyes, love isn't about convenience or fallback options, and she's no longer considering Kyle as a priority. He now seems more like a backup plan rather than the passionate partner she deserves. From what I gather, Claire's growing interest in Holden could be seen as both an opportunity and a warning. On one hand, if Holden's intentions are genuine and he proves to be the man who truly cherishes her, then there's a chance for something deeply meaningful to develop. On the other hand, the fact that their meeting stokes worry, especially when paired with hints of secrecy or hidden agendas, might suggest that there's more going on beneath the surface than meets the eye. Meanwhile, Summer's enthusiasm adds another layer to the situation. She's excited about the potential pairing of Claire and Holden, almost as if she sees it as a natural fit. Summer even implies that this shift could be beneficial for Kyle, as it might allow him to move on and perhaps pave the way for a new, more promising relationship, possibly even with Summer herself. In Summer's eyes, Kyle stepping aside from being Claire's backup would open up new opportunities for him, suggesting that she believes Summer and Kyle could eventually form a beautiful couple. So, what do I think about Claire and Holden? It's a bit of a double-edged sword. While there is a spark of potential, there's also an air of mystery and possible darkness surrounding their connection. If Holden is indeed sincere and can offer Claire the respect and genuine affection she deserves, their relationship might blossom into something truly special. However, if his involvement with her turns out to be driven by ulterior motives or if it involves secrets and manipulation, it could spiral into the kind of toxic liaison that ultimately causes more harm than good. For Claire, the key will be to trust her instincts and not let her desire for love blind her to any red flags. It's important for her to remember that while love can be transformative, it should never come at the cost of her self-respect or well-being. She deserves a relationship that's as honest and transparent as it is passionate. At the same time, the unfolding drama involving Summer and Kyle hints at even more complexity. Summer's wish to see Claire and Holden together suggests that she might believe this pairing could disrupt the current, perhaps unhealthy, dynamic with Kyle. By encouraging Claire to explore a new connection, Summer might be trying to liberate both Claire and Kyle, helping Claire find true love while allowing Kyle the chance to pursue a relationship where he's valued for who he is. In essence, the relationship between Claire and Holden is at a crossroads. It has the potential to evolve into something real and heartfelt, but it also carries the risk of veering into darker territory if not handled with care. Meanwhile, Summer's optimism about a future with Kyle adds yet another twist to this intricate web of relationships. Ultimately, only time and honest communication will reveal whether these connections will lead to genuine happiness or further complications. What do you think? Does the promise of a deep, meaningful bond outweigh the risks of hidden agendas, or should Claire proceed with extra caution?